All right, we are live. Episode 56. I got a cool, awesome guest with me. Say hey, Jolie.
Hello.
As I share our business page, my personal page, and we'll get started. So that way they'll get us right there. Okay. All right. And we're going to get started. And welcome to the Super Terb Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Terb, your local real estate expert with the Untitled Group, Coldwell Banker HPW, aka Super Terb, aka Coach Terb. And I'm back with episode 56, again, of the Super Terb Podcast, where we talk real estate, business, sports, and beer in the triangle. And I have a great guest with me today, Julie Kopetsky.
Hello.
Say hello. She's Director of Relocation with Coldwell Banker HPW, right here in Raleigh, North Carolina. As you guys know, we work out of the triangle. So when you hear triangle, it's Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. I'm hoping by episode 56, you guys understand the premise of the show. But I'm excited to have Julie on. What we've been doing, Julie's having different people like Kennedy. We've had Karen. We've had different people from HPW come on, talk about what you do, and tell you why you love HPW. And, of course, the role that you play as Director of Relocation. Because I don't know if all firms have the relocation department that we have that can help service our clients, whether they're moving into the area or moving out of the area. So I'm really excited to have you on the show, tell you a little bit more about yourself and why you love what you do. All right. Well, actually, we'll get to that.
Okay.
So first thing that I do right before we'll have a little break is I just want to talk a little bit of real estate, guys. And actually, I send my video out to my CRM, to my database, my Sphere today, because it's crazy. It's September 8th. It really is. I'm excited, though, because you know what tonight is?
What?
It's football.
Ah.
Football's back, and I will be back in Charlotte Sunday for the Panthers-Browns game, so I can't wait. But in saying that, it's hard to believe fall's upon us. And so what happens, I think we've got about another month, 6 weeks. We've got a little bit of adjustment in the market where people are going to be buying and selling, but at the same time, they're already thinking about 2023. So I've already talked to some people going, you know what, Terb, we're already thinking about first quarter 2023, possibly selling. What should we be thinking about? So if you're out there listening to this podcast, whether obviously you're local, you're in another market, it's a great time to get with your preferred agent, preferably me, if you're in the Raleigh-Durham area, the triangle, and we can get together and we can get a game plan in action now to prepare your home to sell come 2023. As far as anything we can do to the house, we could see how much equity you built over the last 24 months. And then again, use that game plan, hit the ground running come spring. And that way we can eliminate a lot of competition when that comes on, because it's going to be here before you know it. I think, too, guys, as we're hearing the doom and gloom on the market, we like clickbait. People like news. People like fear. Yeah, we've had an adjustment, but I really feel like we are still in such a great situation, whether you're buying or selling. We've had some things evolve, but at the same time, our sellers have experienced anywhere from 25, in some cases, 40% appreciation since 2020. So if you're all thinking about what kind of equity you have in your home, please reach out to me. We'd love to give you a no obligation market analysis. So that's my little real estate update. So we're going to take a quick little break, Julie, and on the other side, we're going to have some fun, okay?
Sounds good.
And welcome back to the Super Terb Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Michael Terb, your local real estate expert with the Untitled Group, Coldwell Banker HPW, and I have Julie Kopetsky sitting right next to me. Say hello to everybody. Even though I've said your name 6 times, tell your name again and where you're from.
Julie Kopetsky. I actually grew up in Indiana, but I have lived here for 26 years.
Wow. Okay, cool. What part of Indiana?
Northern Indiana, close to Fort Wayne.
So you love Fort Wayne. Very cool. My dad actually flew a fighter up there about 6 years ago. He flew the F-100 back in when he was in the Air Force, and he actually went up there, and they had a Super Saber Society reunion, and he actually was able to take an F-100 up with somebody and relive his flying days. It was really cool. So, do you like basketball?
That is well.
Being from Indiana,
yes, that's right. I am a Hoosier.
So you're a Hoosier, right? Well, I coach basketball. That's why I coached her.
Oh, nice.
So obviously that's pretty cool. So we're from Indiana. So you came to Raleigh. So 26 years ago, we moved here in '86 from San Jose, California. So that's really cool. So where do you live? Do you live in Raleigh now?
I actually live in Cary now.
Cary, very cool.
Yes.
And then when did you start with Coldwell Banker HPW?
In 2009.
Now who hired you? Don? How did you come to Coldwell Banker HPW?
Don hired me.
I know Don is.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask a little a fun Don, the PG Don story later.
Actually, it was Jim Allen and Don.
Very cool. All right, awesome. I always like to ask people a Don story. That usually one pops in their mind that's more that's fun and tell everybody about, because Mom started in '87 with Better Homes and Gardens, and her famous story is when she went to Remix, said, "You won't make it a year." And we're here. And she reminds him of that all the time. So he's a phenomenal person. So in regards to Coldwell Banker HPW, Director of Relocation, obviously people think relo, but tell people listening now maybe what your role is and if you've been in that role ever since 2009?
No, actually, Nancy Harner has been our relocation director, and she is the VP of relocation. So Nancy and I have worked together the entire time I've been in relocation for 2 separate firms.
Very cool. So what is your role when you hear relocation? What is your role with the company and helping us agents specifically with people that are either relocating in and out of the area?
Right. So a lot of my role is to secure and retain the relocation business that we have coming into the area. So most of the decisions are made from relocation companies who are not local here. So any big announcements that we see are actually managed by another entity.
Gotcha.
So it's keeping it's keeping those relationships very strong, and we do that by offering impeccable customer service. And so for a client who's relocating to the area, they are in a lot of stress because they're oftentimes relocating their kids are having to change schools. If mama's not happy, no one's happy. So a lot of our job is making sure that we can kind of get them acclimated into the area and get them happy and productive at work.
Now, I will say, as far as customer service goes, I know when we're working with you guys, the updates are awesome. We always know what's going on. And I think that's the key to anything, like so with stress and moving into the area. And then, you also help people coming in. But then when I go to a listing appointment and say, hey, I need to have an agent in San Diego, then we, of course, have the relocation department to be able to put that information in and be able to find that agent on the other side. So tell a little bit about that.
Right. So our network, one of the nice things, the company that we were with previously didn't have it set up the same way. So there's a lot of accountability for the agents who work relocation, both for us, but as well as these other firms in other areas of the country. So when we are placing your outbound referral, we are using that team that has a lot of checks and balances to make sure that we have the very best agent who is going to be.
And that's what I was going to ask you, because, as agents, when you refer someone out, they're an extension of you. And in many cases, you may not know that agent, but you want to know that agent's going to take the same kind of care because your clients are used to the 5-star service that we provide.
That's right.
So there is some checks and balances on who gets that. Is there an experience level or how does that work as far as who would have the opportunity to work with the clients as far as where they're going?
So we can ask for any criteria that we want, any specifics that we want. But those people who are on the relocation team have had to meet a certain number of units that they close. Okay. Their conversion rate has to be at a certain level. So there is just, in order for them to even be considered as part of this team, they have a lot of performance that has to be met.
No, that makes sense. So again, referrals going out, they're going to be taken care of and be in good hands. Now, as far as I know, with us, you have to go through some training to be to be able to qualify for the. Is that the case?
Yes.
And that's typically a training class a year.
Yes. Okay. So we have some different trainings, and Relogy has unveiled a new training program. So there are multiple opportunities for training. But because there's so many different entities that we get our business from, everybody kind of has their own training. So we're very well trained.
Now, our relocation, do all firms provide something like this?
They don't.
And I think that's what separates us from our competition, and why I believe, of course, I'm biased. We're number one in the marketplace, right. But I feel like having that, resource is so valuable when we're sitting down with somebody and they're looking for that next step wherever they may be moving to.
Right.
So
there are a handful of companies in our area that have relocation. We are the only local relocation department in the area.
Okay.
And so there were some changes that happened through COVID. And then a lot of firms don't offer relocation.
No, that's good. And and you may have answered this, but prior to joining HPW, what did you do?
Prior to joining HPW, I worked for another firm in relocation. So I actually worked in relocation for 26 years.
So you were ready to go. So, and then you mentioned Don earlier, but tell everyone out there, David Jones, our CEO, I think he's amazing. What's it like working for the company and for David?
Working for the company and working for David has been just a awesome experience. David is such a fantastic leader. And I printed off an article yesterday that was in the paper about leaders and how they listen and the kind of questions they ask. He always asks the very best questions. And he is a fantastic listener. And so he is all about trying to get everybody together and do the greatest good for everyone together. So I think that he has really created quite a team for us to all really want each other to succeed.
No, I think, and I'll echo that. And David's coming on the podcast next week, so that's gonna be fun. But when you talk with Dave, like you never think he's always dialed in with you. He's listening to you, and he makes everyone, I think, within the company feel important.
Yes.
And you can't always say that about leaders because most leaders are high Ds, and it's, tunnel vision, quick, you got 2 seconds, and then we're on to the next thing.
Right.
Which obviously they're successful, but I think he does a great job. And then of course, having Don is awesome to have as well. He's amazing. And that's why I was going to ask, do you have a funny or Don story that you can share working over at corporate?
I have a funny Don story to share.
Well, that sounds, I can already tell by your face that this is good. This is good. This is, you're going to be on that, but there's no rating here. Very good.
So probably my very favorite, and I didn't know Don Walston at the time, but I was working for another firm and he came to recruit an agent from our office, at our office.
That's Don. I see that. That's awesome. So no, that's great. I love hearing people. So because usually something will come up right away when we're talking about it. So before we get into rapid questions, which I love, what do you love about HPW?
I love the people and the team.
Very good. That's awesome. All right, you ready for some rapid questions?
I'm ready.
All right, very cool. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite restaurant?
Vidamondo.
Where is that?
Downtown.
Okay. That sounds, I'm hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So that sounds your favorite thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite meal?
They have like a rice dish that is fantastic.
Oh, wow. I got to try that out. Favorite band?
Right now I am addicted to a station on Amazon that is called Mellow Folk. So I really don't even know who I'm listening to.
Chill. Is it just chill music? There you go. Nice to hang out. I like it. It depends on what mood I'm in. All genres. I mean, there's times I'm listening to country. My wife's like, "You listen to country?" Yeah. Well, it's nice 80 degrees out on the porch with a beer. That sounds good. And today I was listening to hip hop. Right. There's time to listen to rock. It all depends on what you're feeling there. Right. Favorite sports team?
My favorite sports team are the Indiana Hoosiers, obviously.
Okay. Now, is that, again, basketball your favorite sport?
Yes.
Okay. What do you like to do when you're not working?
I love yoga. So I do a lot of yoga, but I just got an electric bike yesterday that I put together. And I'm so excited about my electric. Is that a Peloton
kind of bike? Or?
No, it's like a riding bike, but it has an electric feature.
Oh.
So I can go further. So I can.
Very cool.
The goal is to get to Lake Crabtree and see the sunset and still get home before it's dark. That's why I got the electric bike.
So it can help you go. You don't have to pedal. So
right. I will pedal, but I think to get home, I'm going to have to probably push the button.
I like that. That is cool. You have to put that together?
No, just a few things I had to put together.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have much confidence if I had to.
No, it's the big parts.
I'd have pieces on the floor and, who knows what's going on there. Best place you visited?
Hawaii.
I'm taking the fam in next June. My wife and I did our honeymoon there in Maui, and which was way back in 2004. And so before my kids get much older, I was like, we're going to go back. So we've already booked it. We're going to do Honolulu and then Maui.
That's fantastic.
I want to take my son to Pearl Harbor and all that. And so, something to look forward to. It's awesome. Where's a place you want to go, but you haven't visited to?
Iceland.
My friends just go there. They say it's beautiful. That's cool. I say New Zealand, Australia. I think that looks amazing. I like this question too. You can have dinner with two people, dead or alive. Who would you have for dinner?
Bezos, I would just like to know how it was all created.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating how it seems like it started so fast. Who would the other
That would be
person
entertaining.
Yes. Who would the second person be?
You could have a really good combination.
It would need to be a comic. Seinfeld.
That would be an entertaining dinner. You would just sit back and listen.
That's right.
You don't have to say a whole lot.
That's right.
All right, this is a question too. It's the rapid questions I started asking. Maybe I don't know the exact time, but this question I asked everyone that come on the podcast because I just love hearing all the answers. And eventually, I will put a book out whenever the Super Terb Podcast retires of all the answers. So it's the best advice you've ever received, and by who?
Okay. The best advice I ever received was from Nancy Harner. And it was to keep a file of a feel-good file of every time you have somebody that has sent you appreciation or told you did a good job or anything like that for the bad days.
I love that.
Yeah. And she told me when I was very young. Like it
that
was
is
the first
fantastic.
Year I worked for her. So she told me 26 years ago.
No, I think that's perfect because I have a business coach. I've had a coaches since 18 to help me, push me. And my first coach, David Kesey, was fantastic on the mental side and marketing, just great all around. But he would put us through just mental exercises, 3 to 5 minutes, where you would vision yourself in positive ways, good things that you've done, good feelings, because our brain is our biggest enemy, our ego, because there's so many times where you think you're not doing well. And it's amazing how you can think. So I love that because then you have a bad moment or pull it out and then remembers why you do it, because everything always got a little diversity there. So cool. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we finish the show?
What I would like to share about both HPW and kind of what it takes to be an agent. Being a realtor is not an easy job at all. And you talk to people who say, I could sell my house on my own. It's not that big of a deal. They charge too much. But in the end, it is not an easy job. There are a lot of pieces to it that go together that are complicated. I just watched my husband's family go through this with his mother's house. And so there were a lot of pieces that they actually thought, even though they had a realtor in the family, that they could handle that their own and actually ended up using a realtor.
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the head because I also think for agents getting into the business, again, something where I think HPW excels is the training. Because on the outside looking in, you really don't know what you're getting into till you're there.
Right.
And then there's a reason 87% of agents don't make it to their second year. Just because, again, for what they're doing, we have really good agents right next to me here, and a couple have just started. And it's great watching them grow, but building the foundation and what to concentrate on. Like I said, we got to crawl before we walk. We've got to do. We got to work about who it's anyway, step by step, because people look on the outside looking. I grew up in it. I never thought I'd sell real estate a day in my life. Mom started doing this when I was 7, 8 years old. Punishment as a kid was looking at houses. I went into coaching. That's what I thought I was going to do forever. I got to experience that. I lived in Arkansas. I coached at a Division II college, but value of life kicked in. This was 2006. My sister Colleen was on the team a couple years prior. She was in banking. I was like, I'm going to sell real estate. How hard can it be? And of course, and I'm in year 16. And as I was telling Jordan, my assistant, it's like, you learn, even no matter how long you've been doing it, you learn on every deal. Right. And every deal is different. They're not all the same. And then learning to work with people. Yes. And I think the coaching background for me, because really, especially in residential specifically, we're psychologists. You don't know what, and when you're dealing with people's money, there's stress there, the unknown, and the fact you can't control everything. As much as we try to control everything, we can't. And for clients, it's hard, and even though we've done this, we do it. It's our business, not our job. And the amount of transactions we do, that's one of probably only 3 or 4 times that particular client's going to sell or buy. Right. And, so anyway, yeah, I think you make a great point there. And so, and I think you're going to see as the market shifts, and I hate saying that word adjust, because right now I just feel like we're kind of floating in the water. We're going with the current. I feel like the spring, my termnostic crystal ball, I feel like the spring the door's gonna rip right back open, because we have over 80 people coming here a day. And I see my buddy out in Santa Clara County, or Google's backyard, and he's selling homes for $375,000 over asking still. 1,000 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath for $1.375 million. Where are they coming? Here.
Right.
And they see our houses for our average sales price is $568,000,
right,
up from $360,000 2.5 years ago. And they're like, I can buy that. So it's gonna be really interesting. But you need to have a professional in your corner. So that's great.
Yes.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on. It's been fantastic, and hearing your insight. And if anybody out there wants to be on the Super Terb podcast, if you're a local business owner, entrepreneur, next week I'm excited. We're going to have the CEO of Coldwell Banker HPW here on the Super Terb podcast. So that's going to be a really good time. And if you guys are at all out there wanting any assistance, you want any help in regards to your real estate, reaching your real estate goals, and would love for us to help you, please message us. We'd love to have that opportunity to gain your business, and if anything, just help you with any questions you may have, because I know people are listening to this near and far. And it's Michael Turbot with
Julie Kopetsky
with the Ida Turbo Group, Coldwell Banker HPW, with the Super Terb podcast, signing off. And remember, who you work with matters, and we'll see you next time.